There is a presence you cannot see but must come to know. It watches you not with judgment but with aching hope. It walks behind you quietly in the hush between your heartbeats. It waits, not in impatience, but with a yearning you can almost feel when the world falls silent. This presence, this companion, is your future self, not a stranger but the culmination of every choice you make today, and they are watching you right now. You may not hear the rustle of their breath behind your shoulder, or catch the shimmer of their gaze from the corner of your eye, but they are there, in the pause before you give up, in the tremble before you try again, in the ache before you rise. They do not speak, not with words, but with the echo of your potential. They carry the strength you have yet to discover and the peace you have not yet earned. Your future self is not waiting to punish you for your missteps. They are not some cold sentinel measuring your flaws. They are your advocate, your witness, your believer. They remember the time you almost quit and didn't. They recall the tremor in your voice when you stood up for yourself for the first time. They felt the sting of your failures and the shine of your triumphs before either had names. They are watching, not to condemn you, but to remind you that you are not alone in this fight. You are already a story in progress, and oh, what a story it will be. Even now, when you feel hollow, when your bones feel too tired to carry the weight of your dreams, they are reaching toward you, not with impatience, but with grace. They whisper through the closed doors and remind you that not every delay is a denial, that even detours hold lessons your spirit was meant to learn. They see the wear in your smile, the courage you wear like a threadbare coat, and they are proud, not of perfection, but of perseverance. This moment, this very breath, is where you choose who you become. Not in the grand declarations or dramatic scenes, but in the small, quiet rebellions. Waking up when your heart begs you to hide, speaking kindness into a cruel world, believing in your worth when every scar screams otherwise. That is where you shape your future. That is where your future self reaches back and says, yes, that moment. You did not give up. You did not shrink. They have walked through fire you haven't even lit yet. They have tasted the salt of tears you have not yet cried, and they are standing strong, feet planted on the mountaintop of your choices, calling to you not with fear but with faith, faith that you will rise again and again, that you will become who you were meant to be, not by avoiding pain but by walking through it with dignity. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late, too old, too small, too far gone. You are becoming. Every breath is part of the bloom, and if you could see yourself through the eyes of the person you are becoming, you would fall to your knees in awe, not because you are perfect, but because you are real, because you are trying, because you dare to hope again. Some days you will move mountains, some days you will move barely a fingertip, but each counts, each matters, each is watched, remembered, treasured by the self who carries your legacy. The future you does not care whether the world praises you. They care whether you remained kind in a bitter world, whether you forgave yourself for being human, whether you chose integrity when no one was watching. So, they know the day is coming when you will stand in rooms you once feared, laugh in places you once wept, love with a heart that was once shattered, and they are grateful, because even when you didn't believe in them, they believe in you. Do not be seduced by the illusion that the only victories are loud ones. Do not be fooled into thinking progress must roar. Your smallest, quietest choices shape everything. The moment you say no more to what hurts you, the moment you say yes to what scares you, these are the revolutions the world may not see, but your future self sees them, and they weep with pride. When you feel alone, when the road grows steep and your limbs ache with the weight of trying, know that you are not walking unseen. The person you are becoming is holding vigil in your name. They are lighting candles for your courage, offering prayers for your peace, building a home out of the broken parts of your journey. Your future self is the sanctuary you are building brick by sacred brick. And every moment you choose not to give up, you lay another stone. You carve space for joy where there was once only grief. You open windows where walls used to stand. You create light where once there was only shadow. And one day, when you step into that home you've built out of fire and grit and grace, you will know it was worth it. Every stumble, every scar. You are not late. You are right on time. Every storm you have endured has taught you how to dance in the rain. Every heartbreak has taught you how to love with more depth, more clarity, more courage. Every closed door has pointed you toward something greater. And your future self, they remember it all. They do not forget the quiet nights you whispered dreams to the ceiling. They do not forget the mornings you got out of bed, when despair wrapped around your ankles. They remember, and they love you for it. This is not just about goals or titles or applause. This is about legacy. This is about the unseen hands that held you up, the choices that shaped you when no one else saw, the inner revolution that remade you when you dared to believe again. Your legacy is not in the noise. It is in the resilience, in the compassion, in the undying flame of your becoming. So pause for a moment, close your eyes, breathe in the presence of the one who has walked the miles you are only now beginning. Feel their hand on your shoulder, not to steer you, but to remind you, you are not failing, you are forming. You are not broken, you are building. You are not lost, you are learning the way. Let your fears come. Acknowledge them, yes, but do not serve them tea. Do not make a bed for doubt in the house of your destiny. You are allowed to fear, but you are not required to obey it. Let your courage speak louder. Let your hope rise like dawn breaking through storm clouds. You do not need to have all the answers. You only need to take the next right step. The future you does not demand perfection. They asked only this: try. Try again. Fall and rise. Begin and begin and begin again. They are not keeping score. They are counting moments. Moments of grace, of trying, of trembling bravery. The world may try to define you by your failures, your fears, your faults, but your future self knows better. They see you not as what you've been through, but as what you dared to become in spite of it. They see the way you took ashes and made art, the way you turned silence into song, the way you chose life over and over, even when it hurt. And when the day comes that you become them, when you look back at the person you are now, struggling, stretching, searching, you will not scorn them. You will not scold them. You will weep with gratitude. You will say, thank you. You kept going. You didn't know how it would turn out, but you kept going. Because of you, I get to stand in this moment. So go now, not with fear, but with reverence. Go with the trembling strength that says, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who I am becoming. Let that be your anthem. Let it ring in the chambers of your doubt until your fears fall quiet. Let it light the lantern of your days. The path ahead will ask more of you. It will require risk. It will break parts of you wide open. But it will also bless. It will shape you into something true or something brave or something holy. And your future self will be there still, arms wide, eyes wet with joy, whispering, you made it. I saw you the whole time. There is a moment, so small it can slip through your fingers like mist, when everything inside you says, no more. No more struggle, no more pretending, no more dragging this weary soul up the same hill only to fall again. That moment is not your end. That moment is a sacred invitation. An invitation to begin again, to pause not in surrender, but in reverence. For it is in that moment that the future you leans in close, their breath brushing against the back of your neck, their presence humming in your blood, saying gently, this is the moment I knew you would make it. You see, strength is not loud. It does not always roar or shine or draw applause. Sometimes it is the soft inhale in the dark, the slow, shaking hand reaching for the light switch. Sometimes it is saying, I will try again tomorrow, even when today felt like drowning. Your future self holds these moments like gems, polished smooth by your tenacity. They collect them like sacred relics of the life you are crafting out of sheer will. You have mistaken survival for failure. You have confused endurance with stagnation. But staying alive when your soul wanted to vanish, that is not weakness. That is a miracle. That is your legacy in motion. There are days when the bravest thing you can do is breathe. And even that, though invisible to the world, sends ripples through time. Your future self feels them. They do not overlook the small things, because they were built from them. The world has a loud way of telling you what matters. It praises the titles, the wealth, the spotlight. But your future self remembers the nights you sat with your pain instead of numbing it, the times you apologized, not out of guilt, but because your heart sought peace, the mornings you held the mirror and chose not to hate the reflection. These, too, are milestones. These are victories no one else may celebrate, but they are the ones that shape the deepest parts of who you are becoming. You are not measured by what you accomplish, but by what you overcome. You are not defined by the battles you win, but by the ones you choose not to fight anymore. Growth is knowing when to walk away. Maturity is choosing your own peace over proving a point. Your future self has built a life from these decisions. And every one of them began with you, right here, right now. Do not underestimate the power of your presence. There are people watching you who will never tell you how much you've inspired them. You are someone's reason to keep going, not because you have it all together, but because you continue, in spite of everything, to try. You are the blueprint of resilience for someone else's future, just as your future self is for you. There is no shame in fear. Fear is proof that you care, that something inside you believes this life matters, that your dreams are worth protecting. Let the fear be present, but do not hand it the wheel. Let your courage take the lead, not because it is louder, but because it is rooted in something deeper, in truth, in love, in faith. Your future self is not fearless. They simply stopped letting fear write their story. There will come a day when you laugh freely, deeply, without the weight you carry now. It may not happen suddenly. Healing rarely arrives like lightning. It comes like the tide, washing over the bruised parts of your soul again and again, wearing down the rough edges until they soften. Your future self is not the result of one big moment, but of thousands of tiny choices to heal, to forgive, to trust, to breathe. Do not rush your becoming. You are not late to your own life. Your story is unfolding at the pace your soul can handle. Others may rise faster, shine brighter, shout louder, but they are not you, and you are not them. There is no race. There is only the sacred rhythm of your own becoming. Your future self knows this rhythm. They dance to it in the silence of your uncertainty. You have made mistakes. You will make more. This is not a flaw in your design. This is the pattern of growth. There is wisdom only failure can teach you. There is compassion only heartbreak can awaken. Your future self carries those lessons with pride, not shame. They do not hide the scars. They wear them like constellations across their spirit, proof that darkness has been walked through and overcome. You owe no one perfection. You owe yourself honesty. You owe yourself grace. You owe yourself the gift of trying again, not out of obligation, but because you are worthy of a life that feels like truth. The future you lives in that truth. And every time you make a choice that aligns with your heart, no matter how small, they feel it, they grow stronger. It is easy to believe that nothing is changing, that you are stuck, but transformation is not always visible in the moment. It happens in the roots before it blossoms in the leaves. You may not see it yet, but you are growing, you are shifting, you are shedding old skins that no longer fit. Your future self will look back and see this time not as a failure, but as the fertile soil from which everything bloomed. Forgive yourself. Not once, not twice, but every time shame tries to anchor you to your past. You are not the sum of your regrets. You are not your worst day. You are not the words spoken over you in anger. You are not the silence that followed. You are not the love that was withheld. You are the hope that refused to die. You are the breath that chose to stay. And if you must stumble, stumble forward. Fall, yes, but fall in the direction of growth. You are allowed to grieve who you used to be while still celebrating who you are becoming. Your future self does not resent your past. They honor it. For without it, they would not exist. Without every wrong turn, every broken heart, every night you thought you wouldn't survive, they would not be the radiant force they are. Time is not your enemy. It is your collaborator. It is shaping you, refining you, preparing you. Trust the process. Trust your resilience. Trust that the person you are becoming is worth every ounce of the fight. You will not always feel brave. That is okay. Bravery does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving anyway. It means speaking when your voice shakes. It means showing up when your heart wants to hide. It means loving again when you swore you never would. It means forgiving when bitterness would be easier. These are the silent triumphs. These are the moments your future self weeps over in gratitude. You are not invisible. You are not insignificant. You are a living, breathing miracle, a force of nature wrapped in skin. And the world needs you, not a perfect version of you, but the you that is raw, real, and rising. So when the doubt creeps in, when the shadows whisper that you are not enough, remember, your future self is watching. Not to critique, but to cheer. Not to shame, but to celebrate. They are proof that the fight is worth it. They are the evidence that the storm does not last forever. They are the reward for your perseverance. And they are proud, so deeply proud, of the steps no one saw. Of the nights you cried but kept going, of the dreams you dared to whisper, of the self you are still learning to love. They are proud because they remember what it took to become them, and they know They could not have done it without you. So walk forward, not in haste but in reverence. You are not starting from nothing. You are building on every single moment you chose not to give up. The road ahead will twist, it will rise and fall, but you are not walking alone. Your future self is right there, waiting, watching, believing, and when you meet them, when your eyes finally meet theirs across the timeline of your life, you will not need words. You will know. You will remember every step it took to get there. And you will finally, deeply, wholly understand it was all worth it. You were always enough. You were always becoming. There are moments when the noise of the world grows too loud, when the weight of expectations, comparisons, and unfinished dreams threatens to crush the quiet truth of who you are. It is in these moments, perhaps more than any other, that your future self draws closest. They do not arrive with answers, but with understanding. They do not come bearing solutions, but with silent companionship. Having walked this path through time before you, they know the ache of invisibility, the sting of feeling misunderstood, the burden of being the one who carries strength for everyone else while no one seems to notice when your own soul begins to fray. Still, through all of it, you keep moving. You rise when it would be easier to sleep through your life. You show up, not perfectly, but wholly. You show up with the pieces of yourself you still don't understand, carrying them like fragile relics of a story still unfolding. That is the kind of beauty that cannot be taught. That is the kind of courage that builds legacies. Your future self does not forget this bravery. In fact, it is the foundation of who they are. You were not made for ease. You were made for depth. And depth often comes at a cost. It asks for your illusions. It asks for your certainty. It asks for the version of you that was never meant to last. Growth has never been polite. It arrives like a storm and leaves behind a clearer sky. But in its aftermath, something holy takes root. Something unshakable. Something real. That is where your future self lives. In the open field after the fire, where the ashes have stopped burning and new life quietly begins. There will be days when all you have to offer the world is a tired heart and the honesty to admit it. That is enough. There will be seasons when your joy is quiet, your progress invisible, and your strength unnoticed. But still, your becoming continues. It does not pause for applause. It does not wait for permission. It moves in rhythm with your soul, even when the world is too distracted to see it. Your future self does not measure your worth by your productivity. They do not weigh your value in the currencies of fame or status. They cherish the moments when you dared to listen to your own voice instead of following the crowd. When you chose rest over burnout. When you spoke the truth no one else was brave enough to say. These are the decisions that bend the arc of your life toward wholeness. These are the threads that will one day form the tapestry of your deepest joy. You have not wasted time. Even the chapters you wish you could erase taught you something. They carved wisdom into your bones. They broke the illusions that held you back. They revealed the spaces where love still needed to be invited in. Your future self looks back at those moments with compassion, not contempt. They do not resent your mistakes. They honor the lessons you fought to learn, because without them, they would not have the peace they now carry with them like breath. Do not mistake stillness for failure. Do not mistake healing for weakness. There is no shame in slowing down. There is no shame in needing time. The most enduring things in life are not rushed. Mountains do not rise in an instant. Oceans are not filled in a day. Love does not unfold on command. And you, this miraculous evolving self, you are not something to be completed. You are something to be cherished. You are not a project. You are a person. And somewhere beyond the moment you are standing in, that person is waiting for you. They are not asking for a flawless arrival. They are asking you to keep choosing yourself, even on the days when everything feels broken. They are asking you to stay soft in a world that rewards hardness. They are asking you to keep the promises you whispered when no one else was listening, because they are built from those promises. Their peace, their joy, their clarity. It all begins with the decision you are about to make. You do not need to see the whole path. You only need to see the next step, and when you take it, even trembling, even doubting, even uncertain, the future rearranges itself in your favor, because intention is power, and there is nothing more powerful than a soul who has decided to live with truth, to walk with purpose, and to love without apology. There will be days when the mirror feels like a stranger, when the voice in your head is cruel, when you feel like you're living someone else's life. But even then, your future self is watching, not in judgment, but in patience, not to demand, but to remind. Remind you that the process of finding yourself does not always look like clarity. Sometimes it looks like undoing everything you once believed was true. Sometimes it looks like beginning again, not because you failed, but because you outgrew who you used to be. You are not fragile. You are sacred. And sacred things are not always understood. The world will try to make you smaller. It will ask you to shrink, to doubt, to fit in. But your future self is the result of your refusal, the result of your rising. They are the evidence that living authentically, even when it's lonely, builds a life that no one can take from you. This is your becoming. This is the slow miracle of learning to love yourself in the middle of the mess. This is what it means to carry your future in your present hands, to nourish it, protect it, water it, even when no fruit has yet grown. Because you believe, because you know, somewhere deep, that what you are creating is holy. Your future self has not forgotten the days you didn't want to get out of bed but did. They remember the hours you cried and still answered the call. They remember the meals you made for yourself when your appetite had vanished. They remember the hope you dared to plant in the soil of your despair. That hope bloomed. It may not look how you expected it to. It may have grown sideways, but it grew. And it is still growing, right now, in this moment, as you breathe, as you wonder, as you hesitate, as you dream. It grows, not because you have everything figured out, but because somewhere inside you there is still a flicker of belief that you are meant for more than just survival, that your life is not a mistake, that your heart still matters, that you deserve peace. Your future self wants you to know this. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are in motion. Every stumble, every heartbreak, every doubt has been part of the sacred unfolding of your becoming, and nothing is wasted. Not your pain, not your confusion, not your waiting. All of it is being used. All of it is making something new. When you finally meet them, not in imagination but in reality, when you catch up to the future you have been reaching toward, you will see it in their eyes. You will see the light that you carried in your darkest hours shining back at you. You will feel the gratitude of every small yes, every time you stayed, every time you chose kindness, every time you forgave both others and yourself. And you will weep not because you regret the journey, but because you finally understand its purpose. You will weep because you realize that every single thing mattered, that your story is not a tragedy, it is a triumph, that the path was not perfect, but it was yours, and it led you home. So wherever you are now, in whatever season, in whatever storm or silence, keep going, not because you are expected to, but because you are called to, because you are worthy of the life that is unfolding, because you have come too far to turn back, and because your future self is watching, not from a place of pressure, but from a place of promise. They see you, they love you, they are waiting, and when the time comes you will stand in the fullness of your becoming, not with pride alone, but with deep abiding peace, the kind of peace that only comes from living true. You are not just living for today, you are building forever, and the person you are becoming is worth every single step. There are voices you carry that do not belong to you. They may sound like your own, but they are echoes, old fears, childhood shames, generational wounds passed down like heirlooms. They say you are not enough, that you should be more by now, that your dreams are silly, your heart too fragile, your story too messy to be redeemed. But your future self, the one who has walked through these shadows and emerged into the light, knows better. They remember the moment you began to question those voices, the quiet defiance that rose like a whisper. What if I am not broken? What if I am already worthy? There is power in questions like that. They open doors that were thought sealed. They begin to unravel lies disguised as truth. The moment you started asking them was the moment you began to reclaim your life, not in fireworks or declarations, but in the gentle act of believing that you could choose something different. Your future self watches that moment like a sacred turning point, the day you stopped being who the world expected and started being who your soul longed to become. It is not always dramatic, this becoming. Sometimes it is quiet and slow, like water shaping stone. Sometimes it looks like silence, like leaving a conversation where you would have stayed to defend yourself, like walking away from what no longer feeds you, like sitting with grief instead of numbing it. These choices do not glitter, but they are gold. They are how the future is made. Your future self is not simply a better version of you. They are the sum of every choice that honored your truth, every boundary you drew in love, every risk you took in faith. They are not perfect. They are not untouchable. They still cry sometimes. They still hurt. But they no longer doubt their worth. They no longer shrink for acceptance. They no longer apologize for taking up space. And that freedom, that rooted, powerful freedom, began with you, right here, choosing to stay. Not every season will be bright. Not every chapter will be joyful. Some parts of your life will stretch you so far you forget who you were before. You will wonder if the pain means something has gone wrong. But pain is not always a signal to stop. Sometimes it is a signal that you are growing beyond what no longer fits. Just as a seed must break before it blooms, you too will be broken open, not to destroy you, but to reveal what has always lived inside you. There is a softness and strength that often goes unnoticed. It is in the way you speak to yourself after failing, in the way you hold your own hand in the dark, in the way you try again, not because someone expects you to, but because your soul knows you are not finished yet. Your future self cherishes this softness. It is the very thing that saved them. They know now that the gentlest parts of you are not weak. They are sacred. One day you will look back on this version of yourself, the tired one, the uncertain one, the one who dared to keep going anyway, and you will weep, not out of pity but out of reverence. You will see how much courage it took to keep believing, to keep loving, to keep dreaming. You will want to reach back through time and hold yourself, to whisper, "Thank you. I see now what it cost you to keep moving." And your tears will not be sorrowful. They will be holy, because you will finally understand how divine your journey has always been. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to let go of the version of yourself you once worked so hard to become. She served her purpose. He got you through what you could not have survived otherwise. But your future self does not live in those old stories. They live in the blank pages you have yet to write. And they are begging you to pick up the pen. Fear will try to stop you. It always does. It speaks in the voice of logic, warning you of failure, rejection, embarrassment. But fear has no imagination. It only knows what has already happened. It cannot see the new thing being born. It cannot understand the dream that refuses to die. But your future self sees it. And they are waiting, just on the other side of your fear, with arms wide open. You do not need to be extraordinary to change your life. You need to be consistent. You need to be honest. You need to be willing to feel what you've tried to numb. That's where the shift happens, in the moments no one else sees, in the quiet integrity of showing up, in the long, slow miracle of becoming someone you are proud of when no one is watching. There is no shortcut to a life that feels like truth. There are no hacks for healing, only the sacred daily work of choosing yourself, of saying yes to what lifts you, of saying no to what drains you, of being tender with your own soul when it cries out for rest. Your future self lives on the other side of these choices. They were shaped by every small act of courage. They are the reward for your authenticity. And when it gets hard, and it will, you do not have to pretend. You do not have to be strong all the time. The illusion of invulnerability is not where your power lies. Your power is in your humanity, your softness, your tears, your fierce longing to be whole. Let yourself feel. Let yourself be undone. The pieces will come back together, but they will form something new, something more aligned, something that is finally you. This is not the end of your story. This is the rising, the reckoning, the holy turning point where everything begins again. Your future self is watching, not with impatience, but with awe, because they know what is coming. They know the freedom waiting for you on the other side of your courage. They know the joy, the beauty, the clarity that is being woven even now beneath the surface. So breathe, trust, keep going, not because it is easy, not because you are unafraid, but because you are choosing a life that honors the truth of who you are, because you are saying yes to the life that is calling to you in whispers, because you are brave enough to believe that you are meant for more than survival. You are meant for abundance, for belonging, for joy. Your future self is not a stranger. They are not far. They are you, just ahead, built from your truth, shaped by your grace. And when you finally meet them, it will not be a moment of arrival. It will be a homecoming. You will know, without question, that every step was worth it, that every tear watered the roots of the life you now stand in, that you did not just survive, you became. And in that moment, standing fully in your becoming, you will smile, you will exhale, and you will whisper to the you of today, thank you for not giving up on me. And now, as you stand in this moment, still becoming, still learning, still rising, know this. You are not behind, and you are not alone. Everything you've walked through, every scar you carry, every choice you've made in courage or confusion, has shaped the foundation of something sacred. Your future self watches with deep reverence, not for your perfection, but for your persistence. They are not waiting to judge you, they are waiting to welcome you. Because what you are building is not just a life, it is a legacy of truth, of love, of resilience. And though you may not see the full picture yet, though the road ahead still bends in mystery, know that you are already enough. You are already worthy. You are already on your way. Keep going, not for the applause, but for the quiet moment when you realize you became everything you once dreamed of and more. When that moment comes, you'll look back on this version of yourself with tears in your eyes and say, you didn't quit. You kept believing. And because of that, I finally made it home. Let that truth carry you forward now. Your future self is watching, and they are so proud.